Here's some thriller books you can read in 1 to 2 sittings. These books are so bingeable. The Retreat by Kristen Ritter follows the story of a female main character who is a con artist. When she takes a job at a beautiful villa down by the Mexican coast, she is mistaken for the owner of the home, so it's very easy for her to slip into that role since the owner herself is not there. The twists in this one were wild. That's Not My Name by Megan Lally follows a teenage girl who is bruised and battered and wakes up on the side of the road with absolutely no memory of how she got there. She's working with the police to figure things out when a guy comes barging into the station, claiming to be her father, knows her name, has her birth certificate, but she has no memory of this man whatsoever. The Butcher by Jennifer Hillier. 30 years ago, the police chief went down in history for taking down the most notorious serial unaliver of their time. Now he's old and retired and moving into a retirement home, so his grandson inherits his old home. In the backyard during renovations, the grandson digs up a case that was buried beneath the ground in the backyard, and it leads to some pretty shocking discoveries. Count My Lies by Sophie Stava follows a female main character who lives a very boring life, and in order to make things seem a little bit more interesting, she's constantly lying about things. One day she's at a park and sees a young girl with her father. The young girl hurts her foot, and so she proceeds to go over there to help the little girl and tells the father that she is a nurse, which she is not. One lie leads to another in this one. It is unputdownable. She ends up becoming the little girl's nanny, and things just get more and more unhinged. The Unraveling by V. Keeland follows the story of a female main character who works as a psychiatrist. She's currently suffering through her own grief and struggle of losing her husband after her husband got into a car accident, causing another man to lose the life of his wife and child. Things get crazy in this one when that man becomes one of her patients. Tell Me What You Did by Carter Wilson follows the story of a female main character who hosts a podcast called Tell Me What You Did. On this podcast, guests anonymously come onto the show and confess crimes that they are trying to clear their conscience of. This one becomes a cat and mouse chase when one of her podcast guests gets on the show and admits to being the person who unalived her own mother years ago. My Darlings by Marie Still follows a female main character who is very well-respected, well-known, high up in her very fancy neighborhood, and also on the down low, she is a serial unaliver. This Family Lies by J.M. Cannon takes place in southern Louisiana and follows the story of a husband and a wife who are both shot point blank in the head. However, the wife survives by a miracle. Upon recovering, she suffers a bit of memory loss, so she has no idea who attacked them and why, but she has no other family around, so she has to go and recover at her husband's family's home where they do nothing but tell lies and avoid telling the truth. This one is actually a little duology, so it does have a book too, which is easily just as bingeable. These are two of my all-time favorite thrillers.